Ooh, so this one's gonna be a fun one. We were hired. We got donated all of these laptops. There's an early 2006 MacBook Pro. That's the first Intel model, baby. We've got the 2015 MacBook Air. That one should be easy. Over here, we have a 2016 late model MacBook Pro with a touch bar. Fancy, baby. In the back, there's a ThinkPad T460. That's a nice one. You can upgrade its hard drive to an SSD, and that's pretty promising. Next to it over here, we have a ThinkPad X280, and those are pretty fun. They're not very upgradable, but they have an 8th gen i5, 16 gigabits of RAM, and they're pretty ready to rock. Super small 12-inch display, and baby, that's a nice ThinkPad. So, what does the client need? They need certificates of sanitation or destruction. No! For the two ThinkPads, we were able to load up Parted Magic. That's pretty simple. We can go over here and click on Erase Disk. We can do a secure erase, either on ATA or NVMe, depending. And we can run that. And after which, we can do an N-wipe for a 7-pass DoD 522022M data sanitization of the hard drive. So that easily takes care of these two ThinkPads. Also, we can probably load PMagic right up on this MacBook Air. Simple pimple. We'll get that hard drive sanitized, and then we can use OpenCore Legacy Patcher, which I have a macOS Monterey install USB right there. We'll get to that in a minute. Now, if we go over here to that early 2006 MacBook Pro, it's the first Intel model. It gives us a little bit of jazz, but we were able to create a macOS Snow Leopard installer. From there, you scroll back over here. We can go in and do a disk util list and find out that disk 0 is our hard drive. Okay. We can get information about the disk so we can supply the serial number to the client. All right. We can do a simple erase up here, and we can do a 7-pass DoD erase down here. Now that's going to take like 12 hours, so we'll let it go. After which, we can install the most current macOS it supports. I don't know. On this one, we're going to try for Ventura. Now, the nightmare out of this group is this beautiful 2016 MacBook Pro. It has the touch bar, which is really, really cool. However, we have an activation lock on this. The corporate client wasn't logged out or offboarded correctly, so we're either going to have to take a drill and kill it, or I've sent one more email to the client, seeing if they'd prefer a recycle, and if so, we can save that one too. Now, let's dive in, baby. So all these things are going, man, but this old boy over here, it's been taking a while. It's like 7 hours, 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. Can you hear this hard drive? I can hear it, and it don't sound good. Oh boy. Okay, for this one, I can boot up the MacBook Air and hold down the Option key. There we go. Again, I have an OLCP USB stick in the drive, and it has Monterey on it. I thought Monterey would be a decent enough OS, new enough to run current websites, but maybe won't lag down the 2016 or 2015 MacBook Air. So first, we'll boot into EFI boot, and then we'll select Install Monterey. Nice! We can select Install macOS Monterey, and we'll be off to the races, baby! Here we go! Boom! We'll install to the Macintosh hard drive. That's been sanitized! And I'll let that finish up. After it's installed, we'll have to boot the OLCP app again and write some kexts and firmware to the Macintosh hard drive. If we didn't, we'd have to have the OLCP USB stick inserted every time we boot. But we're gonna handle all that in a minute, baby. And look at that, we're booted right in, baby. We now have Mac OS Monterey. Oops, the Open Core Legacy pop-up came on. Great. But we can see we have Mac OS Monterey. And Open Core Legacy Patcher has detected that we're booting Open Core from a USB or external drive. So let's fix that. So there Open Core says finished building your Open Core config, and we can install to a disk. We'll select the main hard disk and the EFI partition. Do we want to reboot to apply? Well, heck yeah! Now we should be able to remove the OLCP installer disk and reboot this Mac Mini. With that complete, our MacBook is fully ready to go. We can visit modern day websites, and Mac OS Monterey should give us a lot more life. So, MacBook Air, done! Our data sanitization is done, so we can exit out of there. And now I'll reboot just to make sure, and we can see that there's no hard drive because we've erased it. So, all we'll do now is install Snow Leopard. Pretty old, but we'll see where we go from there. First, I'll use the disk utility to format the hard drive so the Snow Leopard installer sees it. It's a 120 gigabit Hitachi, so I'll erase it, and I've named it Macintosh HD, and now it shows up as such. So, we'll get back to the installer, select Macintosh HD, and boom! We're gonna let Snow Leopard do its thing, baby! And just like that, we have our Snow Leopard installed. And for a 2006 MacBook Pro, I'll take that as a win. Now we can move on to other things. Okay, so we're moving right along. Let's switch over to these two ThinkPads. These two probably have the most utility. The X280 is an i5 and it has 16 gigabits of RAM, and the T460 over here has 12 gigabits of RAM, and I think it's also an i5, but they're decent computers. So let's throw OpenMandriva Linux on the X280, and I guess here around TechHeart we need a Windows 11 computer, yeah? I mean, I don't know, I don't use Windows 11, but that's the way we're gonna go. Let's use the magic of filmmaking and OpenMandriva and Windows 11 is fully installed, updated, BIOS updates, and we're rocking and rolling, dudes. We've got 4 out of the 5 laptops fully working. The 2006 MacBook Pro has an old Mac OS Snow Leopard. Maybe we'll play with throwing Lubuntu on that puppy in a minute. But the MacBook Air is updated with Mac OS Monterey. The two ThinkPads in the back over here are ready to rock. Linux and Windows can be used for many things, and all we got to worry about is this activation-locked MacBook Pro, and it's like a 2018. Ugh! So, are we going to have to drill the MacBook, or will the client come through and release the laptop? Time will tell. I'll update soon. TechHeart, out!